Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a super sloppy sports and entertainment talk show that covers a little bit of everything from the New York Giants to the New York Mets, movie reviews, TV show recaps and reactions, and life lessons, life stories, with just a sprink of comedy mixed in for good measure. It's hosted by Giant Mess. That's me, the real Since Neal Lynch. I'm an Irish Italian-American who graduated from a Catholic high school, but says, nah, God. Nah, jeez. No thanks. I also graduated from an overpriced university known for producing doctors and lacrosse players. And I voted no to both of those things. Was it the right decision? You tell me. You can reach me at 862-248-1986. That's the hotline that's heating up. And make sure to follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/Neal Lynch or Real Cinch or Giant Mess. Real Cinch on Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/Giant Mess. NealLynch.com is the blog. Do you know about the blog that I do not update? Haha. And make sure you subscribe to get this A++ material before your friends and your foes. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the New York Metros. Whoa, dude. The days of quiet Mets off seasons and subpar Mets off seasons and really just desperate Mets off seasons are over, kid. We're going to try and break down all the free agent signings, all the departures, all the arrivals. We're going to look at some potential trades that are still being talked about. The Mets are not done, according to Billy Epler. And Steve Cohen is a man on a friggin' mission, dude. He will not rest, and he might spend $1 billion to get us that World Series trophy that we've been pining for decades. I mean, we are the last team in the NL East to win a World Series. Wrap your head around that. So with that, let's get started. I think the biggest story from the last time we spoke was deGrom, right? Will he or won't he? Is he coming back? Is he going somewhere else? Is he going to those goddamn Braves? And no, he did not go to the Braves. He went to the Rangers. Wow. I really didn't think that he would go to the Texas Rangers. I thought, like, all right, the Braves are in play. That would really suck. Hopefully he knows better than to do that, even though he grew up a Braves fan, apparently, and he's from Florida. So I was like, he can't go to the Braves. But he's just not going to go to the Rangers, dude. The Rangers over the Mets? What? And then he signed a 5-year, $168 million contract. My guess is too rich for Uncle Stevie's blood, but I don't believe that for a second. And the more that we the more we're trying to digest what happened, now that an icon, a legend, the GOAT, has left us in a cloud of dust, we now start to trickle in all the stories about how he wasn't a fit in the clubhouse and he was kind of a dick and, didn't really vibe with other players and was kind of an a-hole. And it's like all this stuff miraculously comes out of the woodwork once he's no longer part of the franchise. And I guess that happens, once someone as lauded as him that has the status that he does, it's like if a VP of 20 years who ushered in a new era for an organization decides to leave. It's like everyone's, when he's in the building, hey, hi, Mr. deGrom. Hey, Mr. deGrom, how you doing? Yeah. Oh, it's good to see you. Oh, yeah. Oh, you don't want to pitch? Oh, okay. Oh, you have another injury? Yeah, that's cool. That's fine with us. And as soon as he leaves, they're like, that motherfucker. What a son of a bitch. So, I mean, it's just funny. It's like he's out the door and everyone's just like shitting all over him. And I'm not going to do that, but I kind of hinted at that every time we talked about it on the pod. It was like, I don't know if he wants to be here. I just never, this shit has been going on, feels like ever since he signed the last contract, the most recent contract when Brody was running the ship. It was just like, I mean, we started talking about, is he going to opt out of his contract so far in advance? In my opinion, it was just like, whoa, we're so far out and away from that, and we're already talking about it. Makes me think. So I guess it's not, in retrospect, it's not surprising or shocking. It's just, I don't want to say it's disappointing. I sound like such a dad, but I am a dad. So whatever, kid. It's disappointing because it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I understand you want to be paid what you're worth. I understand you saw what happened with Scherzer and you're like, oh, really? And then, with the rumors swirling about Verlander, I mean, I'm sure deGrom feels even better about his decision when he sees that after he decided to go elsewhere, that we signed Verlander, where it's like you keep bringing in these mercenaries, short-term contracts, high annual AAV, annual value, and, you don't want to invest in me, I've provided so many moments for this franchise, and you don't feel like I'm worth it. So I'm sure he feels bitter about it, but at the same time, it does feel like a weight has been lifted off our shoulders. And by our shoulders, I mean the fan base. Yes, it's sad. I would have loved to see him get a ring. I would have loved to see David Wright get a ring. It's like there's talks about possibly bringing back Conforto. That would be pretty sweet to get him a ring. And but I really think he wasn't. I don't think deGrom was thinking about legacy. And legacy's sometimes agents, owners, they throw around the term legacy as leverage to get more money. You know what I'm saying? Or they use it as a crutch to get a player to see things their way. But this really does feel like a legacy thing. And like I didn't watch his introductory press conference with the Rangers, but I see it on my timeline on socials saying the one quote that everyone took away from it was like the Rangers have a vision for winning. Okay, what? Like I can understand if and I've said this before, if the Wilpons are still the owners, I get it, man. Same old bullshit that you're being fed year in and year out about how things are going to change, how we're gonna win again, and da. But like Steve Cohen is the complete opposite of the Wilpons, where he's willing to spend the money and he's willing to do whatever it freaking takes to win a World Series. The dude said in his introductory press conference, we're going to win a championship in the next 5 years. And it's the proof is in the pudding. You can see it from offseason to offseason, and deGrom witnessed it too, which is weird because it's like, don't you see the difference between the two styles of owners, the two ownership regimes? Don't you see the difference? Don't you see how committed he is to winning? He like the luxury tax doesn't exist to Steve Cohen. And everyone else in Major League Baseball is fucking pissed about it. But yet the Rangers have a vision for winning. Okay. My guess is he doesn't approve of Steve Cohen's vision for winning. He doesn't approve of throwing a lot of money at mercenaries or something like that. I don't know. I mean, the Rangers aren't exactly. I don't know that they're tightening the purse strings over there and they're pinching pennies. I mean, they doled out a pretty serious contract to deGrom, and they had another big, massive signing. So it's like, I guess the Rangers are in win now mode too. So that's what makes this decision even more bizarre. The only thing that I can think of that's been mentioned by some others is like he's just the New York market wasn't for him. and that he's a Southern guy. He prefers the South, or like that's just. But then everyone's like, no, it's a stupid reason. He just went for the money. Very interested to see how that turns out, though. Super interested to see how that turns out. Because if he continues to do what he did the past 2-3 years, where it's like shutter down, lights out, and then literally shut down, like can't do anything for months. I bet, and I don't think that the Rangers fan base will care that much, but he's going to look back and be like, and if we, and I made the comparison to Tiki Barber with the Giants. Like Tiki Barber is like, I'm just going to retire. Like, it's not worth it. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to win anything. And then the very next season after he retires, the Giants win the Super Bowl. How fitting would that be? The Mets win the World Series the year after deGrom leaves. And then deGrom's just sitting there like, dang. I've made a massive mistake. I've made a huge mistake. So, best of luck to Jacob deGrom. I mean, I know he's gonna pitch well. It's just a matter of staying healthy. But do I think that we should have offered 5 years, $168 million? What is he? 34? He'd be 39. It's just, you can't ignore the injury history, dude. You just can't ignore it. And I'm gonna say, and like that last start was gutsy against the Padres, but there was something off there. The fact that he can come out and like 100 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour, 101, and he is just dealing, and then all of a sudden he just completely went away from the fastball and was just strictly off speed, strictly sliders and changeups, and it was just like, hey man, I know it's inhuman to pitch, to throw as many fastballs over 100 miles per hour as you do, but can we get a 95 mile per hour fastball in the mix here? Can we just get something? Can you dial up the old numero uno? So, if I had to make a prediction, which my predictions are never right, I'd say he probably has another all-star campaign in him, but I don't think he's not going to be giving the Rangers 5 years of 30 starts. I don't even think he's going to give them 5 years of 20 starts a season. I think maybe he hits that 20 start per season twice, maybe. I don't know. I just, again, the best pitcher I've ever seen pitch ever. And that includes Greg Maddux, that includes Nolan Ryan, that includes, name a pitcher. Jacob deGrom just smokes them all. But it was, I guess he flew too close to the sun. I don't know. Like, it's just, I just don't think that a human arm can do what he was doing to it. Now you lose Jacob deGrom, and your consolation prize is Justin Verlander. Okay. All right. And yeah, I know. I was against it. I really was. But the more I think about it, it's like, if we truly are in win now mode and we handed out that contract to Scherzer's pals with Verlander from the Detroit days, they were hanging out in Florida together. Okay, let's give it a whirl. But I also didn't want that to be our one and only. So we were talking about before, like the difference between the ownerships. Like Wilpons, that would have been the big splash move, and then they wouldn't have done nothing else to support the rest of the roster. And there were a lot of holes to fill. I mean, Taijuan Walker signing with the Phillies. Come on, Ty. Chris Bassett signing with the Blue Jays, 3 years, $63 million, which feels affordable. And it feels like maybe we should have brought him back for that amount, considering what we're paying, some of the other pitchers. I know some people were a little butthurt about that and thought, why not? But after seeing their comments on Instagram, don't think they really wanted to be here. And maybe that's just a byproduct or a result of the Mets just not showing much interest and just being like, nah, we're not even going to talk to you. And maybe that's the reaction to that. But from an outsider's perspective, not knowing all the various details, they didn't look like they wanted to be here. So I'd say, okay, we're about the clubhouse chemistry, people that want to be here. And if you don't, then check you later, Hoss. So, Verlander, I mean, dude, he's 40. And I know he just had like sub 2 ERA. And, I think there's an opt out after year 1, maybe. But, oh boy. That's a lot. It's just a lot of eggs in the late 30s pitcher basket. You know what I'm saying? A lot of old ass eggs in that old ass basket. So, but I do like what they did to as insurance policies, but also just to fill out the rotation. Jose Quintana, who I know is not like the premier name, I guess, in terms of arms that you would want to bring in. Just taking a quick look at his stats here. Jesus Cripes. You know what I want, baby. All-Star in 2016. He was a Cy Young Award finalist that same year. He's 11 years in the league. Kind of like, the Jeff Fisher of Major League Baseball starting pitchers. Got like 89 wins, 87 losses. A sub 4 ERA over the course of his career. Had a pretty rough 2021. Bounced back last year, splitting between the Pirates and the Cardinals. But he can give us, I mean, you look at it, 25 starts, 33 starts, 32 starts, 32 starts, 32 starts, 32 starts, 32 starts, 31 starts, 32 starts. He ain't missing games. So that's, I appreciate that a whole bunch. And the fact that he's a lefty, dude. I mean, I'm like obsessed with getting a lefty. When we got the lefty, I thought we had the inner road, the beeline to Carlos Rodon, and he ends up signing with the Yankees for an extravagant amount of money. 5 years, $162 million, which is like almost on par with Jacob deGrom, which I find to be funny. So, it's like, actually, how much did deGrom sign for? I think I fudged that up, didn't I? Definitely fudged that up. $185 million. Yeah, 5 years, $185 million. So it's below that AAV that Scherzer got and that Verlander got. But Rodon was not that far behind that number, which, take that for what it's worth. But over the course of his career, 110 ERA plus, a 1.278 whip, about 9 hits per 9, less than a home run per 9, a little less than 3 walks per 9, and 8 strikeouts per 9. 3 strikeouts to every walk. So that's a solid. What are we thinking here? 4? I'm assuming he's going to be the 4. And then the Mets the Mets did not listen to me, or at least they listened to me and they said, well, who the hell is this guy? Because then to fill out the rotation, we signed a Japanese star pitcher, Kodai Senga, which I'm definitely butchering, and I cannot wait for someone in the comments to call me some stupid, ignorant white. That'll be fun. But 5 years, $75 million, which seems like a bargain. And if he can give us similar performances, if not a notch below what Chris Bassett gave us, then I think that's a wash, right? And it's 5 years, so we know we got him locked up. And if he can give us 5 years of what Chris Bassett gave us last year, okay, I'm cool with that. What did Quintana sign for? Let me see. A 2 year, $13 million. 2 years, $13 million a year. That can't be right. 2 years, $26 million. Yeah, interesting. But it's the lefty that I've been pushing for, which is great. Doesn't cost you nearly as much as what Rodon would cost you. And that's a pretty solid 4. And Senga's a pretty solid 3. Even if he doesn't quite match what Bassett did, as long as he's in the vicinity, I think I'm pretty happy with that signing. I'm not gonna get as hyped as a lot of other people. I guess there's a video of him striking out Shohei Ohtani, and everyone just in their pants. I'm not gonna do that, but I am excited. And he's going to wear number 34. He's going to wash away our memories of he who shall not be named, whose nickname rhymes with Boar, Syndergaard. So, yeah, I like this rotation, and it's not exactly set yet. It looks like they're going to try and wheel and deal Carlos Carrasco, trying to offload James McCann, and I'm perfectly fine with both of those decisions. I just don't know that you're really going to find many offers or takers. And maybe it's not about getting back anything of great value. It's just like we know these 2 players are taking up spots on our roster that we really would like someone else to be in those spots. I think that's pretty much how it's going to go. And it's nothing personal against Cookie or James McCann. I think they're both great people. It's just like I just think they're in a position where it's like, if we're really in win now, if we really want to get better from last year, which it does feel like the roster that we've compiled so far feels just a smidge better. Just a smidge. And we're going to go through all the various turnover, because there's been a decent amount of turnover, at least as far as pitchers go. So, Kodai Senga, good signing. What if I had to give it a grade? So Verlander, if I had to give it a grade, I mean, I'm not I know everyone wants me to give it an A, so I'm gonna go B plus, 89.99999. Which I guess you round up, it's an A minus, but 89.9999 out of 100. Kodai Senga, for a guy that has some pretty good stuff, not that old, a decent length contract for not a ton of cash, and maybe towards the end of that contract he's your 4 or 5, probably your 5. Just a guy that can give you innings. That's all we're asking for. Just like Quintana, just give us innings. 32 starts, give us those innings, bro. So Kodai Senga, I think that's a B. And then Jose Quintana, it's like a B minus. These are good signings. And, how does it compare to last year's rotation? Is Senga an upgrade over Bassett? Probably not, but he's not that much of a downgrade. Is Jose Quintana an upgrade over Taijuan Walker? I'm going to say yes. And then Carrasco. Verlander, deGrom is like a 1-to-1, but I would say if they were both healthy all season, which deGrom wasn't. So I'd say Verlander's an upgrade. So there you go right there. It's like Verlander's an upgrade. Senga's not that much of a downgrade. Quintana is probably an upgrade over Walker. And then you have Carrasco, who might not be around come opening day. We shored up the bullpen, which the bullpen has had some pretty decent turnover as well. We signed David Robertson. And if you recall, when we were going over, like, should we sign him, should we not, thoughts and whatnot on predictions, I said the age kind of scares me off, but I was more willing to sign Robertson than I was Verlander. And it was like, it would be super sweet if we brought back Ottavino and had Robertson. And lo and behold, I'm loving it because Ottavino is back. And we signed Robertson. So it's like we got the best of those both worlds now. Ottavino is getting a little bit up there in age. Robertson's getting a little bit up there in age. But I think, having the both of them in the mix is is only going to be a positive for us. We did lose Trevor Williams to the frickin' Nationals, which is that stinks because I was a big Trevor Williams guy. Seemed like any time our starters got in trouble, he was there in long relief and giving us great outings. Also giving us some pretty good outings. I guess in middle relief, not long relief, but and just seemed like a cool dude. And so that sucks that we lost him. But he wanted to be a starter. And I get it, I guess. I don't know. Feel like to me, and maybe this is why I'm it's one of many reasons why I didn't like advance at all in my sports careers, but I'd be pretty friggin' happy being middle relief, long relief on a winning ball club in Major League Baseball. But Trevor Williams caught the Seth Lugo bug and wanted to be a starter, and lo and behold, he gets his wish, and so does Seth Lugo, who signs with the Padres. Wish him the best. Of course, kind of feels like we're gonna see him, right? A bunch this season, and possibly in the postseason. And it'll be interesting to see how we manage that and how that goes. Trevor May signs with the A's, which is a dismay. I really liked Trevor May. I really liked what he gave us most of the time. I think there have been a few games where it's just like, oh boy, that Phillies. I think one of the opening week games against the Phillies, was it 2 years ago, last year? Just not great. I think might have been his debut. And struggled last year a lot, but when he came back, he was a force and probably one of our most reliable arms down the stretch. So, and a great personality, and I thought pretty good for the clubhouse as well. So it sucks that he signed with the A's, but I guess it's the nature of the biz. We talked about Bassett, sign of the Blue Jays. Ottavino comes back. A fun stat about Ottavino from Matthew Brownstein on Twitter. Adam Ottavino put up quite the showing in his age 36 season in 2022. Here are his percentile rankings from Baseball Savant. And of course I can't read it. You stupid. Ugh. Average exit velocity, 99th percentile. Hard hit percentage, 97th percentile. xERA with XWOBA, whatever the fudge that is, dude. 97 percentile. XBA 92. X slug 96. Barrel percentage 97. K percentage 89. And extension 90. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 categories, metrics here. And he's listed as great on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 or 9 of them. So yeah, phenomenal season last season. Can he continue it this season? If he can, we're in a pretty good spot. Michael Gibbons signed with the Orioles. Have fun in Baltimore. It's a great city, charm city, Murderland. I had fun 5 years there. So I think, Godspeed. Hope he does well there. We mentioned Carlos Rodon signing with the Yankees, 6 years, $162 million, which is not as much as the deGrom. I don't know why I was making a comparison. But now we're in talks to trade for Liam Hendriks, bro. I don't think I hate that. So, it's, you know what I'm saying? That would be interesting. 33 years old, righty, 6 foot 235, just like me. And had 3-time All-Star, had 38 saves in 2021. 37 saves last year. Was actually a Cy Young finalist in 2021. It was an MVP finalist in 2020, the shortened season. But I mean, what a coup that would be. Because then you have versatility, you have flexibility. You could go I mean, it could look as simple as Ottavino 6, Robertson 7, Hendriks 8, Diaz 9 in close ball games where it's need to win. I like that stack. That's a good 4-arm stack. Would be interesting to see what we'd have to give up. I think I read somewhere that the White Sox might be interested in a trade with the Mets where McCann would come back. And maybe McCann would be all for that. He's like, hey, that's where I had my most success. That's where I feel most comfortable. Let's execute. As far as other signings outside of pitch and go, we re-signed Brandon Nimmo to an 8-year, $162 million deal. Holy moly. I don't think a lot of people saw 8 years in the mix. So, from everything that we saw, it was going to be 5 years, 110, 120. And then Steve Cohen was like, no. I don't think you understand. We freaking love you, dude. And we want you here for the rest of your life. And I'm all for it. And I know he's had his health issues. I know he's had some other issues, but I think those are growing pains. I think he's at the point now where I think he might have said that he can't imagine putting on another uniform, which is like, that is exactly what you want to hear. And are all 8 years going to be great? Probably not. But if he's going to give you the kind of production that he did last year and that you've seen flashes of over the course of the previous however many years, dude, that's like in center field is locked and loaded. Like you don't have to worry about center field for a fair amount of time. Fingers crossed, hopefully, knock on wood. But that's your cornerstone of not the cornerstone, centerpiece of your outfield. A lot of people say like the captain of the outfield, the quarterback of the outfield, whatever you want to call it. It's a very important position, and it's nice to not have to search for the next center fielder every friggin' 2-3 years. It's like, let's just knock this contract out. We know, and you won't have to worry about anything. Just do you, keep smiling, keep running to first on a base on balls, all the things that you do that make you such a lovable player when you are a Mets fan and a hated, detested player when you're a fan of any other team that plays us. So I'm happy to have him back. There's still some talk about we need a fourth outfielder. I think they just signed some guy, Almonte, from the Red Sox, but he is more of like I think he's more of an insurance, like call up kind of guy when the fourth outfielder gets hurt kind of situation. I don't think he's going to be the fourth outfielder that we're coveting. And the probability of McCann being on the move is increased when we signed Omar Narvaez again. Looking forward to the hateful comments about how I'm so goddamn white. Thank you. The Mets have dipped into free agency yet again, agreeing to terms with backstop Omar Narvaez. 2-year contract, $15 million guaranteed, allows him to opt out at the end of next season. Interesting. Considering, I mean, that kind of goes to show you, in my opinion, that Epler and Cohen are like, we signed him for less than we signed you, and we want to trade you. So it's like, if there was any kind of murkiness or confusion about how we feel about what you've given us, like, there you go. So I believe it's less than for what we gave him. Four-year, $40 million contract. So yeah, what I meant is like the annual, the annual value. He was considered the second best catcher behind JT Realmuto at the time, and I'm pretty sure he's like dead last now. But here's the curious thing about Narvaez, right? He's not like that young. I think he's like 30, maybe. He's averaged less than 100 games in 5 of 7 seasons. He's failed to crack 100 games in 5 of his 7 seasons of playing time. So that, to me, feels like, okay, they kind of signed him knowing that they're probably not going to get 100 games out of him, but they feel confident or comfortable with having him being kind of the lead figurehead of the triumvirate that is known as Narvaez, Nido, and Alvarez. God bless. So as Alvarez continues to progress and maybe sees some more playing time this year, Nido is kind of the rock, right? He's the familiar piece to all this. We can lean on him and know that he's going to give us some level of consistency. And to be honest, like, was on a bit of a tear towards the end of the season in September. And so maybe he can continue, maybe not to that level, but give us something better than what his career average had been up to that point, which was not great. So if we're looking at Narvaez gives us less than 100, so 90 games, you're looking at 72 games that we have to make up. You know, maybe it's Nido giving us, you know, a fair chunk of that 30 to 40 games. And then once September rolls around again, Alvarez comes up, and when the rosters expand and we can see what he's got. I want to say he's the number one prospect in baseball, but it's probably wrong. He's probably just the number one prospect in the Mets system. I know he's the number one prospect in the Mets system. And he's only 21 ? So yeah, and that's how the catching situation is gonna pan out. I mean, if they are not able to move McCann, that'll be interesting, because it's like, do you carry 3 catchers? I don't think you do. What do you do with Nido? You know, so it seems like they're gonna make a trade that is not gonna it's not gonna make you know, I guess the biggest positive that would come out of the James McCann trade is that James McCann is not a Met anymore. That's like, you know, that's who we got in return, is like, we got James McCann not on the team. And then interesting to see what the market would be for Cookie, because it does feel like he is not, like, again, he's not a horrible pitcher by any stretch of the imagination, but has I guess he didn't have as like that you know, that singular slip up inning that plagued him and Walker over the course of their Mets tenure. Towards the end of the last season, it seemed like he had ironed that out, but at the same time, it's like, it feels like you're playing with fire. So I think there should be a decent market for him, and we should get something. I don't know. Again, I think that's a case of, like, we're not looking to get a big piece in return. Maybe it's trying to restock the farm system and get some prospects, because it feels like we have a decent crop of prospects, but some of these trades that are being discussed, it's like all our top prospects are gone in one fell swoop. It's like Beatty, Alvarez, Mauricio, Vientos. It's like, whoa. Okay, all our top prospects are gone. So yeah, the other big news is Carlos Correa. He signed a massive contract with the San Francisco Giants, 13 years, $350 million. Oh, my Lord. But guess what? Not so fast. Carlos Correa has failed his physical with the San Francisco Giants. There will be no deal, and Correa remains a free agent. Now, I know that Lindor has been pushing for the team to sign Correa. The last time that Lindor pushed for a guy to be on the team, it was Javi Baez. We all saw how that turned out, like, highest of the highs, lowest of the lows. So I'm curious to know what Mets fans think about this, because it's like, okay, he failed the physical, so the deal's off, which means we could sign him, but then, yeah, but there's this failed physical, dude. And it spooked them to the point where there's no deal and he remains a free agent. So it's like, do we really want to dive into that pool when it's a big contract for a long time, that if he's got this failed physical, it's like, probably should know more about the failed physical before we get back into that ring and toss our hat into the fray. I wasn't able to mention this last go round, but the Mets released. Maybe I did. Yeah, I think I mentioned all this. All right, so yeah, that's I said to myself, and I think I said this in one of the episodes, probably right after we got eliminated by the Padres. I said I don't see us winning another 101 games with this team, and it doesn't feel like we're gonna take that next step with this current team, the current roster that won 101 games. Holy crap! And just felt like I don't know that we're going to get back to that place. That my confidence was kind of blown and shot after that wild card series. And it was like, maybe we do need to wipe most of the slate clean, and we need to think about strategically improving this team. And really does feel like we did it. Now, and if we don't hit 101 wins, perfectly fine with that. The only thing that I need is for them to make the playoffs. Just make the playoffs. Because as we saw with the friggin' Phillies, just got to get in. And then weird, wild stuff happens. And next thing you know, you're in the friggin' World Series against the Astros. So, we win 89 games and get in, I'll be happy. Trust, dude. Trust. I'll be happy. As long as we get in the postseason. And all this battling to get that 1 seed, and everything that Buck did to get that 1 seed, and the team did, and the effort that we put forth, and it's like, maybe don't do that this year, because it doesn't matter. It just does not matter. All right, so that's this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your ears taking me in. You know what I'm saying? Taking me all the way in. Oh my God. Wow. Yikes. Okay. Let's go Mets. LFGM. You got to believe. Very excited. Very happy. Feels like there's 1 or 2 moves coming down the pike, and it feels like they're not going to be bad moves. Like, I don't hate the moves that we made. I said hard no to Verlander, but then it's like, all right, he's on the team. Let's do this thing. Let's just like cross everything you got. Fingers, shoelaces, legs, eyes, and let's hope for the best. So, but we're going to the postseason back-to-back years for the first time, and there was 2016, but this feels like, I don't know that, and I know that was just ending the episode, but I feel like we're building something great. There's both a short-term vision and a long-term vision for winning. In your face, deGrom. Okay, that's enough. Adios, muchachos.